Hello everybody, and welcome to another Game News Roundup, a rare weekend video. Not too often, but Phil Spencer, Microsoft Gaming CEO, did an interview that came out late yesterday, so we're just reporting on this today. But the biggest thing is, obviously, I'm sure you saw, I did a video on it, I'm sure you've seen all over the internet, Nintendo finally unveiled the Nintendo Switch 2. Not the Super Switch, not the whatever, the Switch U or something or other. But yes, they're calling it the Switch 2. And yeah, Xbox will be supporting the Nintendo Switch 2, which, if you've been following Xbox of late, that's not a big surprise, as last year they started releasing more of their games on other platforms besides Xbox and PC, which, you know, for several years now, all games have been day and date on Xbox consoles and PC, with actually a few coming to PC first, more PC-centric type games. But here we are getting confirmation from Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer saying that they will be supporting Nintendo Switch 2 and releasing games on the Switch 2. So yeah, his direct quote from an interview he did with Gamertag Radio. I was exchanging emails with Furukawa-san, the CEO of Nintendo. I gave him a big congrats. And said my old eyes appreciate the larger screen. So yeah, if you don't know, the Switch 2 is a little bit bigger than the original Switch. I think the screen is about, it's supposed to be about 8 inches in size, a little bit bigger than the other Switch, the original Switch, and even the Switch OLED. But yeah, Nintendo, their innovation and what they mean in this industry, I just always applaud the moves that they make. They did a little flash video, which is what we saw. And I know we'll get more details over time. I'm really looking forward to supporting them with the games that we have, and I just think they're a really important part of this industry. I was referring to the gaming industry, an important part. So yeah, and he adds, it's hard with what's publicly out there right now for everybody to get their heads around it. But who would ever bet against the success of that team, referring to Nintendo and the Switch 2? They are just masterful in what they do. Switch is a massive success, and I think Switch 2 will be as well. So, yeah, obviously there's the whole thing, and people thinking, well, yeah, the Wii sold 100-ish million units lifetime, and then the Wii U sold 13 million. People are like, oh god, is it going to be another Wii U situation? Obviously, Nintendo's being smart. They don't want to be confusing with the naming and everything. People are like, okay, the Switch 2, they're keeping it simple. It's basically a Switch 1, more powerful, and just more of the same, what people want. I'm expecting, I mean, my early prediction, obviously, we don't know the price, we don't know the games, other than the new Mario Kart game that's been confirmed. It's all we know. But I think the floor, the minimum the Switch 2 will sell lifetime is probably 100 million. I mean, I would be shocked if it sells quite as much as the Switch, original Switch, which is about 150 million sold at this point. But I'm thinking 100 million floor, probably somewhere in the middle between 100 and 150 million is probably what's going to sell. A little bit less than the original Switch, but still sell really well. That's just my prediction. And yeah, as I've been saying, Xbox is releasing more of its games on other consoles, the Switch and the PlayStation. This includes, from last year, they released Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded on Switch and PlayStation. Well, a couple of them on Switch, all of them on PlayStation. Doom, The Dark Ages, and The Outer Worlds 2. From first-party studios have also been confirmed to launch day one on the PS5. Nothing on the Switch 2 yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually make their way to the Switch 2, because obviously we don't know when it's coming out. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft knows for their developers, but yeah, we don't know exactly when it is coming out, so that depends on when these games may or may not hit the Switch 2. And also, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which came out in December on Xbox and PC, is coming to PS5 this spring. So yeah, they're releasing more and more of the games on other platforms. Also, yeah, the Switch 2, the only thing we really know about it, it'll launch sometime this year. And Nintendo will do probably the full unveiling with a Switch 2 Direct on Wednesday, April 2nd. So we'll see a lot more of the games. And I'm sure we'll get a release date and a launch price for the Switch 2. I'm thinking $399, $400 probably would be the sweet spot. Obviously more than the Switch 1, but not so much more. So that price is still going to keep it below the PS5 and Series X. But a little bit more than the Series S, which is $300. But that's just my thinking, more powerful. The original Switch has yet to see a price cut. I mean, who knows? Maybe they will with the Switch 2. We'll see. We'll see. That was the main thing I wanted to cover. So, yeah. you're a Switch owner, expect to see more Xbox games coming to the Switch. So actually, speaking of which, what is basically confirmed, Call of Duty will be coming day and date on the Switch too, because Microsoft did sign a deal with Nintendo when they were trying to acquire Activision Blizzard that Call of Duty will be coming to Nintendo consoles for 10 years. Obviously, the last one, Black Ops 6, did not come on the original Switch, probably because it's not likely to actually run on the original Switch. So that 10-year deal is probably going to start this year with the release of the Switch 2 and going on for at least 10 years. And I'm sure Microsoft will probably keep releasing games on third-party platforms because, well, why cut your sales down, especially with Xbox hardware sales as low as they are? If you're wondering, they have plummeted by nearly half this in November and December compared to last year. So, yeah, through the end of the year, VG Chart's estimates based on available data we got the Switch to 148.79 million sold as of January 4th, 2025, which we have as the last week of 2024, because, updates line up and stuff. On my PS5, we have just topping at about 71 million units sold, and the Series X and S lagging behind with a little over 32 million units sold. And yes, the Series X and S is actually falling further and further behind the Xbox One, and depending on when the next Xbox launches, I wouldn't be surprised if the Series X and S only finishes around 40 million. So there were some rumors that the next-gen Xbox will be coming out potentially holiday 2026, and as releasing more games on other platforms, I wouldn't be surprised if the next-gen Xbox, generally speaking, Sony and Microsoft has sold their consoles at like $100, $200 loss, at least at launch. Then obviously over that gets made up and they turn a profit with Game Pass subscriptions or PlayStation Plus subscriptions or game sales and stuff, the cut that they get for all games sold. But something's telling me that the next generation Xbox will not be sold at $100 to $200 loss. Maybe it'll be a small loss, but probably $100 maybe even sold at a profit. If it sounds like they're really digging the Steam Deck or the Rogue Ally, some of these PC portable, so maybe we'll see the next portable next-gen Xbox that's more Windows than it is dedicated Xbox. So obviously Xbox will be the main thing, but you'll also have access to stuff on Windows, basically Steam and Epic Games Store, potentially. So yeah, Phil Spencer in the same interview, it basically sounds like, yes, they're continuing to do Xbox hardware, at least another generation. Even if sales aren't quite where they are, they want to at least keep it going for the enthusiasts while they expand Xbox Cloud Gaming and their expand on PC, and then I say Nintendo and PlayStation. Though we'll see. Do I think we'll see Game Pass on either of those? Probably not. But here we be. So yeah, in the same interview, he's talking about how Xbox could potentially win, how they want Xbox to win and be seen in the future. So yeah, he basically goes on to say, I want people to pick hardware based on the capabilities of said hardware and how that fits into the choices they want to make out where they want to play. And we want our hardware to win based on the hardware capabilities that we have. Obviously, you might think, okay, as powerful as possible, but then obviously you think of the price and the power, and you gotta have a good middle ground for that. But capabilities, as I was mentioning, if it's got Windows OS on it, access to Steam, that's a big capability. Because also on Steam are PlayStation games, so you could potentially, if they go that route with Steam available on it, PlayStation games could be on an Xbox platform, quote in quotes, if they go that route. Well, obviously, if they do that route, less likely they're going to sell it at a loss, at least any significant loss. Obviously, then the main focus will still be Xbox on there. Anyway, so yeah, he goes on to continue. I think the difference that we've seen in the last 20 years, and I think this is good because I come from building games, it's really games first, not platforms first. So yeah, it's less about a plastic box. It's, we're seeing more and more games releasing multi-platform. Even Square Enix has come out to say, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 will be multi-platform. Now, does that include Xbox, or does it just mean PlayStation and PC? We'll find out in, probably 3, 4, 5 years when it's finally unveiled. But yeah, Spencer continues, most of the games that you or I will talk about run across many different platforms, and those are the games that are having success. Those are the games on top of the charts. Call of Duty every single year. Last year we had Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring. Obviously Fortnite, Apex Legends, and all these, free-to-play games are continuing to always top the number of player charts, and obviously making tons of money with microtransactions with season passes and skins and I'm sure at this point most of you know all about that. So yeah, I want to build a platform that services those creators, the creators that are trying to meet people on every screen. He added, let's say it, our own hardware. I think it's fundamental about what Xbox is. It's not lost to me that box is in the name of our brand. In the position that I'm in, I look at hardware as a critical part of what we do, but we're not trying to gatekeep games off of other places for the benefit of it. In the past, I think probably the 6th generation was probably the worst, the PS2, GameCube, and original Xbox, is where you saw a lot of games exclusive to one single plastic box. That's less and less of a thing nowadays, especially now that Microsoft is pushing more and more of the games on other platforms. So yeah, let's go build innovative hardware that people want to use to play, whether that's in their hands, big hint, whether it's on television or even other places. It sounds like they're really digging the Switch, the Steam Deck, so I wouldn't be surprised again. A handheld Xbox for probably $400, $500. Just depending on how much the Switch 2 costs, actually probably more like $500. It depends on the power in it. You know, they probably want at least to a minimum Xbox Series S equivalent power, obviously, then lower resolution to help it go a little bit further and whatnot. And then with a dock, you can then plug into your TV. But then one thing they are pushing is Xbox Play Anywhere. So a lot of games now support, at least all first-party games support. If you play it on Xbox, you can play that also on your PC or Xbox Cloud Gaming on your phone. If you do cloud gaming, I personally don't, but it is a very small market that is slowly growing. So yeah, and Spencer goes on to say, and I love our hardware team. Basically saying, yes, there will be another Xbox. What it'll be, we'll see if it's more handheld, or maybe they'll have a handheld and more powerful box for the enthusiasts. Maybe they'll have two. I spent some time with them just this week looking at the roadmap that they have. I think we're learning a lot from this. Like Steam Deck, and what does it mean for our games to be there? Rogue Ally, Lenovo. What does Xbox mean on those platforms? I don't think we're tuned it perfectly yet, and I've spent a lot of time with the team on that, and I want to make progress there. So we'll see in probably rumors again. Maybe 2026 we'll see some next-gen Xbox if they want to jumpstart the next generation. Though at this point, generations are not really as much of a thing in gaming as there were in the past, especially now Nintendo does really their own thing with the Switch coming out in 2017, with power-wise being more like a little bit more powerful than the PS3 and 360, and the Switch 2 rumored to be a little more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One, maybe closer to the PS4 Pro, depending on if you're in handheld mode or in docked mode. So, yeah. I wanted to go over that, and a couple of little tidbits of gaming news. If you are a physical game user who likes to buy games physically, I hate to say it, that era is coming to an end. Circana executive director and video game industry analyst Matt Piscatella has revealed physical game sales sold in the U.S. have dropped like an absolute rock, with the peak in 2018 of nearly $12 billion in physical game sales, has now dropped to under $2 billion in 2024. Yeah, that's a huge drop. And even compared to 2021, it's dropped by half. So in the last 3-4 years, it's been cut in half, if not more so. So yeah, the rate of decline, this is specifically U.S., mind you, in U.S. physical game software spending accelerated in 2024. Spending on physical video game software in the U.S. has been cut in more than half since 2021. It's now more than 85% below its 2008 peak. We'll see if Switch 2 can help reverse this trend in 2025. I hate to say it. I don't see the Switch 2 at least reversing the trend. Maybe slowing it down. Percentage-wise of digital versus physical sales per platform. Obviously, PC is pretty much 100%. It's pretty much 100% digital sales on PC for games at this point. Xbox is next in line with probably 90% plus digital sales because the Series S is digital only, and the Series X now has a digital edition for a little bit less money. And obviously, even if you have a Series X with a disc drive, I'm sure you play a lot of games via Game Pass, or you buy them digitally versus going into just retail stores, which obviously gaming sections are shrinking in retail stores. And We're seeing Blu-ray movies disappearing. CDs, obviously, for music have disappearing. Although, vinyl sales have gone up in the last, like, decades. Go figure. So, yeah, that is a bit of a drop for physical game sales. And I wouldn't be surprised if the PlayStation 6 and next-gen Xbox are basically digital only, with maybe a possibility for people who are interested, especially for backwards compatibility reason for physical games, potentially to have a separate disc drive available to purchase. Kind of like how the PS5 Pro is digital only technically, but you can buy a PS5 disc drive to be attached to it for another, it's $80 I think Sony charges for it, so maybe we'll see that for the next generation. For at least PlayStation and Xbox might just say screw it, not even bother and just do digital only. But again, we'll be finding out in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Given the length of general generations, Sony's, it's like 7, 8 years, and then I wouldn't be surprised if Sony was a little bit longer. Maybe PS6, maybe 2028, 2029 even, depending on how things are going in the future. But we shall see how things go. But it sounds like Microsoft is going to cut this current generation short for them and leap into another big generation after that. Potentially. But again, we'll probably find out early next year if a new Xbox is going to come out in 2026. Despite physical game sales dropping, game sales have been pretty stable. This is the video game market in the U.S. You see down 2019, it was around $45 billion, and you see 2020 to 2024, it has been relatively stable, up and down a bit, but between, like, what was that, 55 to a little over $60 billion, the gaming industry. The purple line being being game sales, physical, digital, DLC, microtransactions, portable, PC, VR platforms, cloud, console, mobile platforms, at least available data that they're able to collect. And then the little like hot pink color there is video game hardware, as you see, is a very small amount, and then accessories is even smaller. Accessories, I think, mostly for the main part, accessory sales are controllers. This is the main accessories right there. Probably controllers. So, yeah, I wanted to cover this and go ahead and mention, why is Xbox releasing more games on third parties? Well, they spent $70 billion-ish on Activision Blizzard, $7.5 billion on Bethesda. Microsoft higher-ups are now looking at Xbox like, yo, we want you to be as profitable as their other divisions, because Microsoft earns like $20 billion in profit every quarter. So they want to improve Xbox profitability. So, yeah, they're releasing more and more games on more platforms to bring in more revenue and more profits. And if you look at their upcoming lineup of games, for this year, first party, technically what is considered first party, Avowed is coming out February 18th. I believe that is Xbox PC Game Pass. South of Midnight, April 8th. Xbox PC Game Pass. But then Doom: The Dark Ages and also is coming to PS5. Ninja Gaiden 4, which is it's being published by Microsoft, so technically it's considered first party. That's also coming to PS5. Fable has only been confirmed for... it's coming out this year, supposedly. We don't really know exactly when. Probably this fall will be my guess. It's only been announced for Xbox and PC. Outer Worlds 2 is coming out sometime this year, also coming to PS5. Call of Duty 2025, obviously that's going to remain multi-platform on everything. So, yeah. And there's been rumors, take this with a big grain of salt, that Microsoft is considering releasing Halo the Master Chief Collection on Nintendo Switch 2 and PlayStation 5. Which would be a big thing. If Halo makes their way to PlayStation and Nintendo, then definitely anything could happen. Anything can come out on other platforms. But also, Phil Spencer has said, there's no red line. There's no games that will only stay on Xbox and PC. They'll consider anything to come out on PlayStation and Switch 2. Or Nintendo in general. Whatever, Who knows in 10 years what the next Nintendo console will be. Who knows, right? But anyways, that is probably enough of me rambling on for the past 20 minutes at this point. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoy these videos of me going over the latest gaming news, gaming sales, and gaming industry information. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.